Before we start talking about remainder and factor theorems, let's divide x squared plus 8x plus 16 by x plus 1. So we divide this by this. That will give us x. X times x will give us x squared. And x times 1 will be x. So we subtract x squared minus x squared is 0. 8x minus x will be 7x. So we drop the constant term here, plus 16. Then we divide the 7x by x to get 7. Then 7 times x is 7x. And 7 times 1 is 7. So we subtract 7x minus 7x is 0. 16 minus 7 is 9. So this is what we call the remainder. We call this the dividend. We call this the quotient, and we call this the divisor. So you realize that we divided x squared plus 8x plus 16 by x plus 1, and we had x plus 7, then plus the remainder, which is 9 over x plus 1. Now when we multiply through by x plus 1, we are going to get x squared plus 8x plus 16 is equal to x plus 7. Then we have x plus 1. Then we have plus 9. So you can see that the polynomial p of x is equal to x plus 7, which is the quotient. Let's call it q of x. Then times the divisor, which is d of x, plus the remainder. So the remainder is 9. Now when we make x plus 1 0, that is, when you put x plus 1 to 0, we are going to get x to be equal to -1. Now when we put in x equal -4 into this polynomial p of x, we are going to get p of -1 is equal to q of x times d of x, which is x plus 1. So -1 plus 1, which is equal to 0. So the d of x is what we made 0 here, times 0 plus 9. So you can see that p of -1 is giving us 0 times this is 0 plus 9 is 9. So you can see that p of -1 is giving us the remainder, which we got here. So that is what the remainder theorem says. It says that if the polynomial expression that defines the function of p is divided by x minus a, then the remainder is the number p of a. So for instance, if f of x equal x cubed minus 3x squared plus x minus 5, what is the remainder when f of x is divided by x plus 1? So you put the divisor to 0, x plus 1 is equal to 0, and that will give us x equal -1. So the remainder will be equal to f of -1. So we know that f of x equal x cubed minus 3x squared plus x minus 5. So if we put in x there, the value of -1, wherever we see x, so you get -1 cubed minus 3 -1 squared plus -1 minus 5. And this will give us -1. -1 cubed is -1. This will be positive because of the squared. So +1 times -3 will be -3 minus 1 minus 5. So that will give us -4 here. So 4, 5, so that will give us -10. So the remainder theorem will give us the remainder instead of going through the long division process. So if you are only interested in finding the remainder theorem can give us the remainder very quick. So let's look at this one too. We have to find the remainder when 6x squared minus 7x plus 2 is divided by 2x minus 1. So what do you do again? Just put the divisor 2x minus 1 equals 0, and that will give you 2x to be equal to 1 and x will be equal to 1 divided by 2. So you can let p of x be equal to 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. So the remainder is p of -1 over 2. P of 1 over 2, not negative, so it's positive. P of 1 over 2. So that will be equal to 6 times 1 over 2 squared minus 7 times 1 over 2 plus 2. Now let's simplify this further. So p of 1 over 2 will be equal to 6 times 1 over 4 minus 7 over 2 plus 2. So this is the same as 3 over 2, because 2 will go here 2 times, 2 will go here 3 times, minus 7 over 2 plus 2. So this will give us 3 minus 7 is -4 over 2 plus 2, or -2 plus 2, which is equal to 0. So the remainder is 0. Hence, the remainder r is equal to 0. So now, let's talk about the factor theorem. The factor theorems is also very similar to the remainder theorem. It says that x minus a is a factor of the polynomial expression that defines the function p if and only if a is a solution of p of x equals 0. That is, if and only if p of r equal p of a is equal to 0. So, like we saw in this example, since the remainder is 0, it means 2x minus 1 is a factor of 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. Then over here, we saw the remainder to be -10. So it means that x plus 1 is not a factor of x cubed minus 3x squared plus x minus 5. So that is what the factor theorem says. So let's take an example. Write x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 as a product of linear factors. So we are going to apply the factor theorem here. We have x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. Now, the factors of 6 can give us the factors of this polynomial. The constant term here is 6. So the factors of 6 are plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2 plus or minus 3. Then we also have the rational or the fractional ones. But for now, let's limit ourselves to this for now. So we can test and see which of them is actually a factor. So let's say we are picking -2. So P of -2 should be equal to -2 cubed minus 2 times -2 squared minus 5 times -2 plus 6. So this will give us -8. Then we have minus 2 times 4, which is 8. Then we have plus 10 plus 6. So this will give us -16 plus 16, which is equal to 0. So this tells us that in actual fact, one of the factors is x plus 2 by the factor theorem. Since -2 is a factor, then x plus 2 will be, since p of -2 is 0, it means x plus 2 is a factor of the polynomial function. So we can divide to get the remaining factors. We can keep trying all of them, but that will waste time. So we can do long division. We have x plus 2 here. Then we have the polynomial is s cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. So when we divide x cubed by x, we get x squared. Then x squared times x will give you x cubed. Then x squared times 2 will give you plus 2x squared. So we subtract, and that will give us 0 here. Then here we have -4x squared. We drop the minus 5x. So we divide -4x squared by 4 by x to get -4x. So we multiply -4x by this to get -4x squared, then minus 8x. We subtract again, we get 0, -5x minus -8x will be positive 3x. Then we drop the 6, and that will give us, we divide 3x by x will give us plus 3, and that will give us 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 2 is 6. So when we subtract, we get 0. Indeed, we now have the quotient. The quotient is x squared minus 4x plus 3. We can now easily factor the polynomial. So for now, our polynomial x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to x plus 2 times x squared minus 4x plus 3. So we can factor the quadratic expression here easily. So we have x plus 2, then you look for two numbers that when you multiply you get 3, and when you add you get -4. And the numbers are -1 and -3. So the factors becomes x minus 1, then x minus 3. So that is a complete factorization of x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. Or we have written it as product of linear factors. These are the linear factors. Now it is your turn to try this one. It is your turn to try this one here. X cubed minus 3x squared minus 6x plus 8 as a product of linear factors. Now in the next video, we're going to talk about zeros of a polynomial function.